These days, it seems that millions of people are really struggling with like what used to be considered a work-life balance, and more than ever, I'd say that work-life balance is work. That is your life. That's your balance. Everything's costing more. Everybody seems to be having to find more ways of earning an income. They're worrying about their job. You've got AI taking jobs. You've got people that have left university with degrees and there's no work for them. And there seems to be millions of people that are really mentally struggling to find a way through. And that can really be detrimental, obviously, to anyone. I've been there myself many times over the years. And there's a few little things that I learned to sort of guide me through that, to get me through those dark patches. Because the key thing to everything is to weather the storm. And in my opinion, there's a few things that you need to be aware of if you're not already. And one of the key things to remember is your own lifespan. I mean, it sounds obvious. We all know that we're not here forever. But I think when you're in a really dark place, for whatever reason, especially if it's work and money, and those things can really overwhelm you, and you feel burnt out, and it doesn't matter how much you do, you're just not making it work. And most of it's not even your own fault. You're doing your best. So what you need to do is step away from that in your mind. And this is, I think, is key to any success in life whatsoever. You really have to step back from all of the issues, all of the problems that seems to be surrounding you and putting you under pressure in your mind. And it sounds easy when you say it. If you can master it, it is really easy. If you can just step away from all of that in your mind and then understand that realistically, in the greater scheme of things, nothing really matters when it comes down to it. Money doesn't matter. Nothing. Your work doesn't matter. Nothing really matters when you come down to it. Because your life's just an experience and it's finite. And the whole point of your life, if there is one at all, is to have challenging times that help you grow and develop. Some people can't manage to get through those dark times, sadly. And maybe it's because they never had anybody to listen to them, or they didn't know where to look for advice. Now, I'm not saying that I've got the answers to everything. I can only tell you what worked for me and does work for me regularly. I learnt to step out of my mind and step away from my issues and focus on the fact that every day is a blessing. Every day has new possibilities. Every single day has a new opportunity. I get up sometimes and think, oh, not another day, not again, not this. I've been in situations with work where I thought, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I'm just doing, it's breaking me. And then when I get 5 minutes, I'd definitely put 5, 10 minutes, half an hour aside and try and make myself step out of all that smoke to get a bit of clarity and to focus on what really matters and to understand that my life's journey is literally that. It's just a journey. And there's going to be all sorts of trials and tribulations along the way. And if there wasn't, it would be boring, really. When you get through these dark times and you look back and you think, wow, that changed my perspective on a lot of things. And it helps you develop. And you develop better. You have to have the storms. You have to have these periods in your life where you make decisions that can change your outcome. And the best way to do it, I've found, is to be able to understand, truly understand, that one day it's over. All of it's over. And it's not, for a lot of people, that's not a nice thing to contemplate. And that in itself can take a lot of mental training to actually come to terms with that fact And that is a fact. Of all the worries you've got, that most of them will never come true, the one thing that will happen is one day this will be over, and that is the end of this experience. I don't know what comes next. But once I got my mind in a state where I knew that, then I just thought, well, then I've got really nothing to lose. I can just enjoy the ride as it is. And then I'd find myself, like when there was times with problems, and one thing, I started to look at books to try and help me work out, because there wasn't the internet back then, and to try and help me work out what was really going on in my own head, and if there was any way I could get around it. And one thing that stuck with me out of the books that I read was your mind. If you can place your mind in front of your head here, and visualize that your mind and your thoughts are there. They're not in your head. They're here in front of you. And that's a river. So what you do is you focus on a river, like a stream, and it's streaming along, and they're thoughts, because your brain is constantly thinking, regardless whether you want it to or not. And what we do is we think things constantly. You know it's true. I know it's true. And then sometimes, but these thoughts are bubbles in this stream, little tiny bubbles of thoughts going through the stream. And at some point, you have a thought bubble that's a bit negative. It's a bit more dark. It's a bit more uncomfortable. And instead of what we do, like maybe you're thinking about what you're having for dinner today, and that thought bubble goes through and you think about your dinner and it's gone. And then another thought bubble comes along, and we let them just flow through. But when we have these sort of uncomfortable thoughts, darker thoughts, what we tend to do is we put a dam straight across that thought river, and we stop that bubble, and we hold that bubble in that dam. And then before we know it, another thought bubble comes, and it goes into that bubble. Now it's making that thought bubble even bigger, and it's becoming more of an issue than it was initially. And then another thought bubble, because you've dammed the stream of thought, you're focusing now on that dark thought. More dark thoughts are coming behind it, and you're not letting them flow away till the next good thought comes through. And so in the end, you've built a big bubble of dark thoughts in your head, in your thought stream of bubbles, because you've dammed it. And what you've got to try and practice, in my opinion, is what I do. Once you understand that you can lift the dam, see the thought, and let it go. See the thought, but don't hold on to it. Don't clutch hold of it. Don't let other thought bubbles go into it. Just let the thought drift through and let the next thought come along. It sounds easy, and to be honest, if you practice it, it does become easy. If you think about it like a thought and let that thought go through. And before you know where you are, once you understand that they're just thoughts, and all the issues that you've got literally are all you can work them all out eventually, but you have to weather that storm. And that's the task in life, is to weather the storm until the bitter end. And once you can do that, in my opinion, then you can start moving on and start progressing into a more comfortable mind space where, okay, things go wrong. Okay, this isn't working out. Okay, but you don't hold on to it. Make it something much bigger than it already is. And then just let it compound you and break you. Anyway, I hope you got something out of that. Try it. You'll see. It works. See you next time.